Welcome, Lindsay, to Wealth Matters podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. Thanks again. So we'll just jump on it. Can you tell my listeners what do you do?
Sure. Again, my name is Lindsay Davis, and I am CEO and co-founder of Spartan Invest, which is a full-service turnkey company located in Birmingham, Alabama. And what we specialize in is providing fully renovated turnkey rental properties for investor clients all over the country, and we also have international clients. We provide them the fully renovated properties with highly qualified tenants, and we also have a property management company that continues to manage the property after the investor has purchased it. So we're a full service turnkey provider. And we historically have been able to provide our investors with double-digit returns year over year.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been something that's gained a lot of popularity, and it's allowed us to grow at a pretty rapid rate. But really, our main focus at Spartan is equality, communication, and your return, your cash flow from the investor standpoint. So that's what Spartan Invest and our property management company, Alabama Rental Property, that's what we focus on.
Yeah, that's the reason I reached out to you, because I heard from my friends about Spartan Invest, and I said, okay, I need to interview someone from Birmingham market. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. So we are going to change gear here. I want to find out what inspired you to become an entrepreneur or business owner. Why and how?
Well, I started my career at Cintas Corporation. It's a great company. And that's where I met my business partner, Clayton Mobley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we both started our careers there right out of college after graduating from the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And really just, he started kind of selling to owner occupants on the side. I was helping him on the side, and then just started to see the possibility or the potential. And so we decided we were having very good careers at Cintas, and decided to kind of take the leap and leave the very cush corporate world to go start Spartan Value Investors, which is our holding company, and selling properties to directly to owner occupants.
Oh, I see.
We kind of always knew that we wanted to do something on our own. We kind of had a vision for building a company that had, a family oriented culture, and that was a work hard, play hard type mentality. Very family oriented. So that's kind of what was always in our realm, but we started to see the potential in the real estate realm and focused on that more directly. Is that what you were asking? I want to make sure I got your questions.
Yeah. So I wanted to know what inspired you, and I think you kind of touched upon it, right? And I of course remember too, Southern hospitality, and of course Alabama folks believe in religion and family and faith, right? So of course it does make sense. And funny, I forgot that you worked at Cintas. Did you have to wear a jacket every day?
Did I have to wear
Did you have to wear a jacket every day at Cintas, a suit? Because I went to Cintas in Ohio, and everyone had to wear a jacket.
No, we were all uniform.
Ah, okay. So on the IT side, I went there, and they asked me to make sure to wear a jacket, and I'm like, oh wow. So I went there, and everyone in the company is wearing a jacket, and that was strange coming for me because I live in San Francisco Bay Area, and over here there is no dress culture. People don't care. Some of the CEOs come in shorts and flip flops. Right? So,
that's so funny. Well, it's funny. We carried a lot of the Cintas corporate culture. We carried that a lot over to Spartan. And one of the things that we carried was the uniforms. So we wore.
I see you.
Every day. And yeah, you can see me right now. I know your listeners can't, but you can see that. every day we show up in a Spartan Invest uniform. We all look the same. So we kind of feel like that creates a unified look, or, a unified feel, that it doesn't, title, position really wouldn't differentiate based on just appearance. So
that's a great idea. So how did you exactly get started, right? What did you do when you get started? Did you buy a property for yourself and rented it out, or did you help someone? I know you mentioned Clayton, but did you help any other owners or owner occupants? Or what was your first deal?
we did. So we actually were purchasing properties. There were some investors in Montgomery that were kind of, the capital behind people flipping. They asked if we could do it in Tuscaloosa or in Birmingham. So that's where we got our funds to begin with, and it wasn't a lot at first. Obviously, it was probably about 300,000, and we started just buying off the foreclosure steps, renovating one or two at a time, and then reselling to owner occupants. Then we had a very bad year. We purchased and renovated a property that was then hit and severely damaged by the tornadoes that came.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we got the property under contract the day that the tornado hit, and there was a lot of.
What year was that?
That was 2011.
Okay, and in Birmingham, right?
That was actually in Tuscaloosa.
Oh,
That's
Tuscaloosa.
where the property was located. But the tornado hit in Tuscaloosa and in Birmingham. So we lost a lot of money on that deal. They backed out of the contract. Obviously, the area around it was severely damaged. So we went a couple of quarters with some pretty bad times, and that's actually how we started buying rental property. So when the houses weren't selling, we acquired several very low cost of rental properties, and those rental properties helped us weather the slower winter months of the owner occupant real estate market. And as we continue to grow the owner occupant, the resale, we started focusing more on the rental properties and how they were able to consistently produce that cash flow,
right,
and really help with our expenses and all of our overhead. So then that's around 2013 was when we were wanting to start focusing more on the rental properties. And so that's when we started the property management company and started selling the turnkey rental properties to investor clients and not focusing on the open market.
I see. So I'm going to go back on the tornado. What kind of insurance, or is there any insurance coverage on tornadoes like
there
that?
Is. Well,
okay.
So there's not a specific tornado insurance that is required, just because the likelihood of the tornado actually hitting your property.
Like flood and earthquake,
Right, yeah, those are required, because if a hurricane comes, and you're kind of on the shore in Florida, and if it's coming there, you're going to have damage. It's so widespread, the damage.
Exactly.
But with tornadoes, the likelihood of it actually hitting your particular property is pretty rare. But unfortunately, it got that property. It actually destroyed the Cintas in Tuscaloosa. It hit my personal house. I mean, we had a lot of damage come through there. It was a really tough day.
And how difficult was it to work with insurance company on those claims? Or
from the company standpoint, so the property that we had on the Spartan side, it was just massive tree damage, and it hit the house, but it had destroyed a lot of the other houses. So the tree damage wasn't necessarily covered. Now with my personal property, I had 2 trees fall in the house, so it was covered. It was kind of one of those little tricky insurance things. But for the most part, and for the vast majority of reports that I heard, the insurance companies were very easy to work with during that time.
Oh, that's great. So What were some of the highs and lows, from starting from 2011 till now, if you can elaborate? I think one of the low you just mentioned about the
Yes.
tornado. uh, but if you can talk about some of the highs and what were some of the steps you took to persist through the low point?
So some of the, like I said, obviously some of the lows were the tornado, and were a couple of quarters when we first started selling to investor clients. We had a year where we barely made any money for our investors, and
Wow.
we were trying to start we were trying to start this entirely different approach to the real estate for the Birmingham market, and it was new, and it was outside of our wheelhouse. We had been selling for years and had been successful selling just the flip properties to owner occupants. So then we decided to change gears, and really just for the vision for the turnkey market, and not necessarily it's what we had done. So that was it was a really low point, kind of pulling our hair out. Did we make the right decision? Why are we going away from something that has historically been
Work.
working?
Yeah.
But it's the high point is that this past year was our 5th consecutive year on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing private companies in the United States. So
Oh, wow.
it
That's
definitely
awesome.
paid off. Yes.
It's awesome. Congrats.
I would also say that 2 years ago, we were voted one of Birmingham's best places to work. That's for myself. That was one of the best highs.
That's great. Yeah. Because if you
Yeah,
can provide a good working environment, you will have create employee retention, right? That's what you want. Satisfied employees.
yes, very much so. And so far we've only had in our almost 10 years, we've only had one employee leave us. So that's where I think, to me, that speaks volumes kind of the culture that we've been able to create. And our employees, I mean, our team is fantastic. We've got the best people in Birmingham. I know that.
That's awesome. So, one more question about if you can tell my listeners a golden nugget or a tool about being an entrepreneur or business owner. What would that golden nugget or maybe a tool you use and which has transformed the way you do the business?
Um, that's a tough one because there's probably about 10 or so really good golden nuggets out there,
Yeah, yeah, you can throw as many as you think.
I would definitely say one thing that we prided ourselves on is the lean mentality, and that I feel as a lot of companies, especially entrepreneurs, as you start to grow and you start to make a little bit more money, it's the urge to grow too fast and expand, you know, maybe overextend yourself. And that's one thing that we've been extremely cautious about, and that we have pulled back. We've waited too long to hire people. We've waited too long to spend the additional funds, and just to make sure that we don't lose sight of, hey, investor is key. These are
Right.
our core values. And then another gold nugget is reputation to
Yes.
everything, especially in starting out, kind of
Yeah.
doing what you say you're going to do. That's one thing. We've made tons of mistakes, but we always try to take care of the investor at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the key. So yeah, both the points actually you hit them on the nail on the head. So one is of course the reputation, right? Because your reputation follows you, and
Right,
it's all about referral, right? Word of mouth, as well as you want the same investors to buy from you again, right? And with
right, exactly.
name. So absolutely, no, that's awesome. And I think, yeah, even I'm a business owner and entrepreneur, so I understand about running the lean machine. And of course, when we start out, we have to wear multiple hats, right? Um, but then you have to find that balance in when exactly you are ready to scale up, when exactly can you support, and do you even have time to train this new person, right? Or virtual assistant and whatnot, right? So you got to balance it out and figure out what's the best way, right, for yourself as well as the business, right?
Definitely. And it's a very difficult decision because you can be overwhelmed. But at
Yes.
what point are you hindering the company's growth by continuing to wear so many hats?
Yeah.
So it's a very fine line, and you really need to focus on that and make that a priority.
Agree. So now I'm gonna talk about market actually. So why Birmingham market? Why would investors want to look at Birmingham market? What's so special about it?
Well, I could talk to you all day about why Birmingham is special, but I'm obviously partial because I've lived here for a very long time. However, though, from an investor standpoint, there are several reasons that Birmingham sets itself apart, and that the millennial growth. So Birmingham has been noted in one of the top 10 cities in the country for millennial growth.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, very much, and that it's such a low cost of living, and that we've
Yes.
been able to provide. You're able to live in that city type atmosphere and get good housing, good paying jobs, and not have the higher cost of living in some of the larger cities like the New Yorks and
Right. Yeah. San
Atlanta.
Francisco.
Definitely. And then Birmingham has had so much uh, manufacturing job growth. And in 2018, we produced 2.2% job growth, and which resulted in almost 45,000 jobs in the
That's
state of
great.
Alabama. I mean, it was above the national average, and we're below the national average in unemployment. So that's there's a consistent consistent quality of the manufacturing jobs. We've got the Mercedes manufacturers. There's a total of 6 major car manufacturers in Alabama, in the Birmingham kind of metro area.
Wow.
And we also have, it's been something that the state and all city officials have worked very diligently on, that they're creating these incentive programs for the larger companies to come bring their jobs to Alabama and then stay. And right now they've made a really big push for tech companies. I don't know if you've heard of the company Shift.
Yes.
Yes. So that is a Birmingham-based company.
Oh, wow.
It was recently purchased by Target for $500
Yes.
million.
Correct.
Right. And so as they were getting to purchase, a lot of city officials were terrified that they were going to move.
Yeah.
So they created a talent, it's a talent acceleration program in which it allows them to be incentivized to keep and recruit local talent and talent from all over the country to come to Birmingham so they can keep their headquarters here. And that was actually part of the agreement, is that they have to stay in Birmingham. They're bringing, on average, or they're projected to bring about 880 jobs to the Birmingham area.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just from a not only from a millennial standpoint is it a low cost of entry, but from a business standpoint it is as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. Right now we've got an Amazon distribution plant that is being constructed in Bessemer, and it's projected to bring an additional 1,500 jobs to that area, and that's one of our biggest markets.
I saw that news actually, and as you know, I'm invested in Birmingham. I like Birmingham market. So, can you tell us? And I also remember a big medical, the hospital, UAB, right?
Right. So the University of Alabama at Birmingham, that is a huge hospital. It's a student hospital, and it's the largest employer in the state. There are several locations in and around Birmingham as well, and it takes up around, the last I saw was 27 blocks of downtown Birmingham. It's a huge medical facility, and it's great. It's very, very well known and held in high regards as a very good research hospital.
And also, last time when I was there, I saw that downtown is getting gentrified. How is that going, and what impact is that making on your business?
Well, we've seen so our office, we just actually opened, we've renovated an office downtown. It's about 15,000 square feet. We've just moved in the last couple of months. We outgrew our older office. And, you know, from restaurants, the brewery scene, the minor leagues, the Birmingham Barons, kind of famous for, you know, very famous for Michael Jordan for the very small
Yes.
stint of his baseball, minor league baseball career. But so there's a lot of things that the city is also doing, and we've got a very large brewery scene by making that legal a few years ago. So there's been lots of changes in the downtown area and a lot of incentives that investors for renovating commercial properties, you're getting additional tax incentives for renovating and maintaining those properties. So we've been trying to get a lot more
That's great.
downtown. Yeah.
Hey, Lindsay, so what are the top 3 things which differentiates Spartan Invest from other turnkey providers in Birmingham, and if you have compared yourself against, you know, turnkey providers in other cities as well? What are the top 3 things?
The top 3 things, you know, I would say let me see, the number one thing, that's the tough one, would be the customer service approach for our investors. And that once the property closes, we did a lot of research before we started the property management company on what investors' largest complaint was with current property management companies for current rental properties they had. The largest complaint was lack of communication. So we said,
Right.
okay, that's not going to be us. So we have a full-time person that sits all day, every day, and contacts our investors to let them know what's going on with their rental property. We are almost to the point of having to bring on another full-time person.
That's a good problem to have, right?
It's a great problem to have. Oh, definitely, for sure. But we were calling investors every month. And a lot of times the phone call was, hey, just letting you know that everything's going great with your property. And things do come up in rental property. So that, you know, sometimes those phone calls are not great. We've had some investors that have said, hey, look, I love talking to you every month, but you do not have to call me. Maybe just shoot me an email, which is completely fine. We want to communicate with you the way that you want to be communicated with. So, but I think that that's one really big key that kind of sets Spartan Invest apart. And then it depends on how you define turnkey. There's a lot of companies out there that will sell you a quote turnkey rental property, but they don't in-house manage the property. And to me, that's a really big difference between what we call turnkey, and that there's no way to align the incentives. So if our construction team, you know, we do everything in-house. We acquire, we renovate, and we rent and manage the property all in-house. So there's no way that the incentives are not aligned, in that if the construction team doesn't properly renovate the property, then we're still stuck managing the property afterwards.
Right.
So there's some companies where and they're not completely aligned. And then I would say the third, I would say probably be a combination of tracking in the team. So our team is very, very diligent in tracking all of their key performance indicators.
Okay.
And focusing on the things that we need to focus on. So for instance, the things that are going to give our investors the long-term cash flow and the long-term higher rate of returns, those are the things we're focusing on, like our overall portfolio occupancy and our maintenance ratios. Those are the things that are going to affect the investor long-term. So those are the things that our team focuses on every single week. We post those numbers in front of everyone and make sure that they stay in line with what we're telling the investors what we're selling them. So I think those three things kind of really help set us apart from other turnkey providers. And then, I do think that Birmingham being such a great and thriving market is definitely giving us a leg up as well.
Yeah, no, and I have got the same feedback about Spartan Invest from other friends as well, that the communication is great. It's pretty transparent. So I'm pretty much I agree with you for some of the, three things you mentioned. Anything else we forgot to discuss or I didn't bring up?
I don't think so. I just would say that, communication and transparency is key, especially since, 96% of our investors are not in Birmingham.
Right.
So being able to, the fact that so many investors trust us to buy real estate sight unseen is something that we do not take lightly. So we have professional pictures taken before and after the property is renovated, and we disclose all of those to you prior to you closing. We have a property management system to where you can always have access to your invoices and all communication, and so those type of things we hold in very, very high regard. So yes, I do want to stress that communication is kind of key, and it's not always flowers and roses and rainbows in real estate.
Of course.
Yeah, you do have to deal with tenants and maintenance and evictions. There are going to be busted pipes and trees on houses, and those type things are going to happen. But it's the same risk that you run with any type of investment. But
Yes.
the biggest thing is that you trust your provider to take care of the situation when those things inevitably happen.
Agree.
Yeah, it's the big one.
Thank you so much. So we are just wrapping up. How can my listeners reach out to you?
They can reach us. The best way to reach us, we've just rolled out our new website, so we're really excited about it. It's got tons of information on there at www.spartaninvest.com. And then our office line is 205-202-4118. If you'd rather give us a call, that's perfectly fine. Or if you can reach out to us on our website, either way, we'd love to talk to you.
Thank you so much for your time, Lindsay, today. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.